The marketing worked. A prospective client searched for an attorney in your practice area and your firm appeared. Maybe it was in the map pack, maybe in the organic results, maybe just because a friend mentioned your name and they looked you up. All possible. They clicked. They read your practice area page and they were interested. They were called at 7:15 p.m. on a Tuesday and they got your voicemail. So they called the next firm on the list. That firm picked up. That case is now gone. Not because your marketing failed, but because your intake failed. This is the hidden revenue leak in most law firm marketing strategies. And I want to spend the next handful of minutes here walking through exactly what it is, exactly when it happens, and exactly what it takes to fix it. Because the math on what it's costing most firms is significant. And most attorneys have no idea. Let me start with some context here to make this really clear. Most attorneys think about marketing as the system that produces leads. More traffic, more cases. Better rankings, more calls. That is not wrong, but it's incomplete. Marketing produces opportunities. Intake converts opportunities into clients. A firm with great marketing and broken intake, that's a leaking bucket. You're pouring leads in from the top and watching a significant share of them just, escape through the gaps before anyone signs a retainer. The gap between the leads your marketing generates and the clients your firm actually signs is the revenue leak. And in most law firms, that gap is much larger than any attorney ever realizes. And here's why. Most attorneys track cases signed. Some track leads. Very few track the full picture of every opportunity that came in, at what hour, through what channel, and then what happened to it, and whether it converted. Without that complete picture, it's easy to look at the signed case number and conclude that marketing is working at full capacity. But the signed case number is what survived the leak. It's not what the leak started with. So let me describe the 4 very specific points where leads escape, because this is not a vague problem. It has 4 very specific locations in the funnel, and closing all 4 of them is what really separates the firms that grow from the firms that stay stuck. Leak number 1, after hours calls. A significant share of legal searches happen outside business hours. This shouldn't be surprising to you. Legal crises do not observe a 9-to-5 schedule. People call when the anxiety of their situation reaches a breaking point. That happens at 7 p.m. on a weekday. It happens Saturday afternoon. It happens at midnight when someone cannot sleep. If the phone rings at 9 p.m. and nobody answers, most callers do not leave a voicemail. Research tracking more than 1,300 law firms found that 26% of firms never respond to online leads at all. And that's not accounting for after-hour calls that never result in a voicemail because the caller moved on. Think about that for a moment. 26% of firms never respond. And for the firms that do respond, response time matters enormously. Industry research consistently shows that responding within 5 minutes or even less produces dramatically higher conversion rates than responding within an hour. The prospect who called at 9 p.m. and reached voicemail, you can bet they've called 2 or 3 other firms before your team arrives in the morning and sees the message. I mean, by then, in most cases, they've already moved on. Leak number 2, the after-hours website visitor. This person is different from the caller. They are typically more in the research mode. They're building trust before they decide who to call. So they've got a specific question in mind. It's usually something about the process, the cost, what their situation qualifies for. They are on the website at 11 p.m. because that is when the anxiety about their situation finally pushed them to do something. And if there is nothing on your website that can answer that question, no conversational AI, no way to get an answer and leave contact information, what do? They leave. They're going to find a firm that can engage them. That firm starts building trust while yours sits quiet. And the cost of that lost engagement is invisible. There's no record of the visitor who almost became a client. They'll show up in your analytics as a bounce, not as a lost case. Leak number 3, the slow follow-up on web leads. For leads that do submit a contact form, the response time is everything. 5 minutes versus 60 minutes versus next day are not incremental differences. They are cliff edges. A prospect in the middle of a legal crisis is not going to wait patiently for a callback. What are they going to do? They're going to keep looking. And the firm that calls them back in 10 minutes, right away, as soon as possible, while they are still in research mode, is the firm that gets the consultation. Most law firms respond to web form submissions the next business day. By that time, the prospect has already spoken with someone else. Leak number 4, the undecided prospect. This is the least visible leak. Most people who find a law firm during their research do not hire on the first visit. They visit 2 or 3 firms. They spend 7 to 30 days comparing and considering, and then they actually make a decision. During that window, if your firm has disappeared from their awareness, you're losing ground to every competitor that stayed visible. The retargeting gap, the absence of any system to stay in front of a prospect who has visited your site but not called, is a significant source of lost cases. Not dramatic, obvious lost cases. Quiet ones. The prospect who visited on a Tuesday and chose someone else by the following Friday only because that firm kept showing up and yours did not. Now, let me put this in the form of a number that should make you uncomfortable. Take a firm generating 50 qualified inbound leads per month. If that firm is converting 20% to signed clients, they're signing 10 cases. If the same firm closed the 4 leaks, they answered the after-hours calls, they engaged the after-hours website visitor, they responded to web leads within minutes, and they also stayed visible during the decision window, and improved that conversion rate to, let's say, 30%, they're now signing 15 cases from the same 50 leads. That's 5 additional cases per month from identical marketing spend. And an average case value of, let's say, $10,000, that's $50,000 per month in additional revenue from a firm that did not change a single thing about its marketing budget at all. It just changed its intake system. That math is why intake matters as much as marketing. More leads into a broken intake system does not produce more cases. It produces more evidence of the leak. So, what does fixing the leak actually look like? Well, the first thing is answering every call. Every call. At every hour, on every day. And I'm not telling you to hire a night shift. I'm telling you that technology now exists to answer a call at 9 p.m. on a Saturday, greet the caller professionally, ask the right questions, capture their name and the nature of their matter, and the best time to reach them. And it delivers all that information to your intake team in a structured form before they arrive in the morning. Now, this is not science fiction. That is what AI phone intake systems do today. And the difference between a firm with that capability and a firm without it is every after hours call that used to hit voicemail and walk away. The second thing is engaging website visitors who are not ready to call. The contact form on your website is a commitment. It asks someone to organize their thoughts, write them down, and wait. People in the middle of a legal situation, which is almost always a stressful situation, do not want to do that until they trust someone enough to open up. A conversational AI on the website can have that trust. Building conversations. It can respond to whatever the visitor says. It answers questions about the firm and your firm's process. It also captures their information and keeps them engaged until the intake team can follow up or even be transferred to. The visitor who came at 11 p.m. with a question does not leave without an answer. The third thing is rapid follow-up on web submissions. Automated acknowledgement that tells the prospect their inquiry was received, what to expect, and when someone will call them back, followed by an actual call as quickly as possible. Every hour of delay matters. Got to remember that. The fourth thing is staying visible during the decision window. Retargeting the prospect who visited your website and has not yet called, not with a promotional ad, but with the same kind of substantive content that brought them to your site in the first place, does the job. An article that answers a question they are still asking. A video of maybe you explaining their situation. A presence that signals the firm is established and confident and still there. All four of those together close the leak. And here's the compounding effect that most firms do not anticipate. When the intake infrastructure is right, the character of the practice changes, not just the conversion rate. The kind of clients who actually reach you. You see, the prospect who watched your video, had their question answered by the website AI, they called and they reached someone immediately and saw your content for the next 2 weeks while they decided, that prospect arrives at the consultation already trusting you. They're already convinced. They're already close to deciding, if they haven't already decided already. The consultation is different. The conversion is higher. The relationship actually starts from a stronger place. Marketing drives traffic. Intake converts traffic into cases and clients and revenue. Both have to be working. Putting more money into marketing while the intake is leaking is the most expensive mistake most law firms are making right now. Close the leak, then grow.